Karthik's back. Karthik's back.
Karthik's back. Karthik's back.
Karthik's back.
Karthik's back.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of First Canada Live. It's going to be a good show tonight. This is a show where we talk about all the good stuff going on in the First community, all the exciting happenings. And to help us do that today, we have a co-host from the First Canada Youth Council from Team 7712, ACC and Umoja. We've got Maria M. Hello, Maria.
Hi everyone.
How are you doing today, Maria?
I'm great tonight, Karthik. How are you?
I'm good. You know, it's December, it's snowy, it's like, you know, it's the holiday season. We're trying to get into it, and we got like a really fun show tonight. So, Maria, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started?
Sure. So hi everyone. My name is Maria. As Karthik said, I'm on Team First ACC and Umoja Robotics 7712. I'm in grade 11, and I'm really excited to be here tonight because there's some great speakers lined up.
Yeah, and you know, this is First Canada Live, where we, you know, come together with the community. There's a lot of fun stuff going on here, and remember, you know, we're here to celebrate excellence in our community. If you've got any questions to ask any of our guests or any comments, just throw them into the chat. We'll be happy to get to them when we can. And remember, you know, we always try and celebrate positivity here and support all our fellow team and everyone and all the endeavors that they're doing. But before we get started, a thing that we've been doing every week lately on First Canada Live is our youth council brings us a wellness moment. So. Yeah, do you want to introduce the wellness moment for us?
Yeah, sure. So for the wellness moment today, I'm going to be taking everyone through an exercise that I like to call square breathing. You may have heard of it before, but basically this exercise is meant to provide a small sense of calm during maybe a stressful moment. So I know this year has been a particularly stressful year for a multitude of reasons, but even sometimes when you may experience stress at work, at school, or just because you have a difficult task to do, I find that square breathing really helps me center myself. I know a few days ago, I was really stressed because of some schoolwork, and I just took a second to breathe, and it really helped me become calm again and be able to complete the work that I need to that I need to finish. So for this exercise, how square breathing works is what you're gonna do is you're gonna breathe in for 4 seconds. And if it helps, you can count with your fingers up to 4. And then you hold that breath for 4 seconds again. And then you're gonna breathe out for 4 seconds. And then you're gonna hold it again for another 4 seconds. So I'm hoping to lead the audience through this twice. If you feel comfortable, you can also close your eyes. But yes, so we're gonna start now. So first, breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold. And breathe out. Hold. So I hope that was helpful, and we're gonna go through it one more time. So breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. Hold. So that's our wellness moment for tonight. I hope that helped either give you a new exercise that you can try, maybe sometimes when you're feeling stressed, or helped you de-stress a little bit tonight if you were experiencing any stress from any other tasks that you were doing today. Back to you, Karthik.
Well, thanks so much, Maria. You know, I'm a big advocate on the power of deep breathing exercises. I know for me in my life, you know, especially when there's a specifically stressful time or I'm just feeling a little bit overwhelmed, I just, you know that feeling you get in your stomach, and it's just kind of like, you know, and it's like, how do I get rid of this? What do I get rid of this? I just know, like, you know, it's like, okay, go somewhere. For me, I usually like try and sit in the chair and get like my back right up and like just do these deep breathing exercises, and it really calms me down. I think, you know, especially like the stress of competition sometimes, like there's a lot going on. It's just like, okay, I need to get somewhere on my own. And, you know, First Canada has these quiet rooms at events now. It's a great place to just go, breathe, be by yourself, collect your thoughts, and then come out and it's like, bang, let's do this. Let's go. So
for sure.
Thanks so much for sharing that, Maria. Tonight's show, we got like a lot of cool stuff going on. The Kahoot challenge is back. Have you been playing along with the Kahoots this season, Maria?
I haven't, but I'm really excited to see what they look like for tonight.
Yeah, we got a really good one. We got our champion, Brennan Bibic, who is coming back onto the show to defend his title up against Gregor Browning. So we got two first alums going up against each other. As we go into the first season, there's a lot of stuff happening. And we know our season's going to be different this year. It's virtual. There's a lot of stuff going on, but there are some things that are constant, and there's going to be a lot of different awards. So what we're going to be doing is on First Canada Live, between now and the first couple of weeks of the season, we're going to be breaking down some of the awards. So when the season starts, we're going to have a deep dive on the Innovation Challenge with the past Innovation Challenge winner from eBots and First Canada. I've seen former Youth Council member Connor Bosey is going to be talking about that. I'm going to be doing a deep dive into game design, possibly bringing on some of my old friends from various game design committees to talk about how to design a first game or how to design a robotics game, which will be awesome. And we're also going to be talking about Infinite Recharge at Home. But the award that we haven't mentioned yet is the Chairman's Award. And we're going to be doing a deep dive on the Chairman's Award today, where I'm going to go over all the tips and tricks from various Hall of Fame teams, including 1114, the team I used to mentor, on how we got into the Hall of Fame. And this presentation has been used for years. So that's going to be really fun coming up later on tonight. And we have a special guest here. We have Mallory Basha to talk about SHAD and their amazing program. And Maria, are you familiar with SHAD?
I am familiar with SHAD. My school actually held a small presentation on it a couple weeks ago. So I know a couple of my friends are applying, and I've heard it's a really good program.
Yeah, it's I never had the opportunity to go to SHAD, but going back when I was in high school, SHAD was like a big thing, and now we see so many first students going every year. I love seeing on social media they go away for a month, and we'll let Mallory tell us all about it in just a few minutes. So we're going to be doing all that tonight. But before we get to all of that, let's time to talk about the news updates. And we got a lot of fun stuff happening, and it's robot season, and we got events starting, which is really, really cool. This week, right now, as we're speaking, there is judging going on for the first Ontario FLL practice event. And so there's judging happening right now. Teams on Monday had time to record videos of their robots playing matches, and they sent them in to the referees who are watching them all, getting everything set up. And then on Saturday, we're going to be having a showcase from 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. live here on Twitch. So twitch.tv/First Canada, where you are right now. Follow, like, subscribe, do all those things so you can tune in on Saturday. And you get to watch an FLL tournament. It's going to be our first virtual FLL tournament. So this is new to us. But we're going to be showing you some matches, possibly some team showcase videos, ways to get to meet the teams, and all the good stuff. So we know we can't do the awesomeness of an event in person, but we're going to be trying to do something virtual. So it'll be interesting to tune in. Did you do FLL when you were younger, Maria?
I didn't do FLL when I was younger, but I've heard from some of my friends who have done it that it really helped them to kind of develop some of the skills they needed for first, because we know that the first values carry through all the different programs. And it's definitely something that I've mentioned and I'm hoping to get my younger cousins involved in, because I know FRC has been so important for me. So the younger they get started, the better.
Yeah, and so this event's going to be really exciting to just kind of see their games, see the robots. If you've missed seeing robots, and if you're not an FLL person, still tune in, because it's just so cool to see these missions and how they accomplish them. I started in FRC as well, just like Maria, but I remember when I went to my first FLL event, actually one of our guests, Brennan, was really involved in FLL as a student back when I was getting into FLL as a volunteer. And I was just like, wow, this is so cool seeing what these robots are doing and seeing how they accomplish the challenges, and the same sort of problem solving directly applies. So it's cool. So check that out this Saturday at 9:30 a.m. And good luck to all our teams who are going through judging right now, tonight and tomorrow. So that's really, really fun. First Canada has some really big offers going on right now as well, for First LEGO League Discover and Explore in terms of the class packs. There's some really great pricing. And if you are on an FRC team and you're interested in, hey, we'd love to get some of our feeder schools involved in robotics. We know that when these kids age up, they're going to become a part of our team. But like Maria said, there's no better way to train than with programs like FLL Discover and FLL Explore. There are some amazing pricing right now on these class packs. So if you are interested, reach out to any of the First Canada senior mentors or to Dave Ellis, and they will get you all the details on this. But I'm saying there's wicked awesome prices. We unveiled it at the beginning of the season. We won't go into details now. Maybe we'll talk about the details next week, but there's some really cool stuff going on. So you're going to want to check that out. Also, hey, Maria, there's something really new we have going on, but we got a new website, a subsection of the First Robotics Canada website. It's called Career Connections. So let's take a look at some of the cool things that you can see. This is under development, and there's a lot of neat options here, as we can see. If you scroll down just a tiny bit, we'll see there's going to be a section to find out about co-op jobs and internships. We had our episode on First Canada Live about internships recently, job search tips, top 5 skills employers seek, So like, Maria, are you in the process of like looking for summer jobs right now? I know, I'm sure the market is like not easy.
At the moment, I've been focusing more on university research personally, but I can definitely see that this would be a super important research, a super important resource that I will definitely be checking out after this episode, because this is like such a great resource that I think a lot of students could benefit from.
Yeah, and our first sponsors, they love hiring first students, and that's part of the reason why they're in this program. So this is the way, we've always had like a little bit of a disconnect. We have these amazing sponsors who come to events and are just wowed by all the students. And we have all these students who are great at problem solving and just amazing people who are looking for jobs, but they never quite, we don't make that connection. That's what's going to happen with this site. And so you want to check this out, firstroboticscanada.org/career connections. And, you read some testimonials from some of our alumni and check out the opportunities that are going to be there. And this site's it's going to keep on developing. There's going to be more and more resources there. But, when it comes to the time that you're looking for summer jobs, internships, co-ops, all that sort of stuff, this should be like one of your first stops. Check it out there. So that'll be really good. Other cool stuff going on, the FRC season is rapidly approaching and team registration is still open. Teams, the virtual kit of parts is available. So if you want to start downloading your software licenses and claiming your coupon codes, you can do that. And Ontario teams, if you haven't registered, but you still want to register, you can do that. Just make sure your YPP is up to date. You go online, check your kit delivery location, select that, and then contact First Canada, reach out to one of the staff members, maybe me, maybe Swaggy P, Paul Keenan, and they will get you all set up to go. The last piece of news items is, tonight I'm going to be talking about the Chairman's Award, and we're going to go take a deep dive into the award. But on Thursday night, First Headquarters is hosting the Chairman's Chat. Now, this normally happens at a championship where teams would come on the day before matches start, and they all come together and they talk to the Hall of Fame teams and just ask questions about the Chairman's Award. But we're going to be doing a virtual one of these this Thursday night. If you go to the FRC blog, you can log in. It's good. It's not on Twitch. It's going to be GoToWebinar, so you do have to sign up. But go to the FRC blog to get the details on that. And from there, you'll be able to not only talk to myself and some of the Hall of Fame teams, but there will be 3 championship chairman's judges who will be there to answer questions. So this is your chance to like really get information. And I see a comment in chat from Swaggy P saying, I'm not even on the show when he mocks me. I didn't mock him anywhere. There was no mockery going on. I just said his nickname. His nickname's Swaggy P. That's a good nickname. There are so many worse things I could call you, Paul. So just wanted to show that one out. But Chairman's Chat this Thursday, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Getting access to these judges is not easy. So it's going to be really cool. And it's really cool that they're volunteering their time for this show. So it's going to be good. All right. That was the news. I think it's now time. Are you ready to hear about some more about SHAD, Maria?
Oh, for sure.
All right, let's do that after this word from our sponsors.
When the Science School of Engineering was kind of conceiving itself, it developed the vision of creating a different type of engineering education. The idea that engineers had a role in society, that engineers had to learn about other things rather than just technology, and that engineers could have impact.
This initiative to try to develop an experience for students who are building technology, but to take it to the next level.
We have a lab. The lab is to help people learn about the process of entrepreneurship.
It's a space where students can come together and explore whether they are interested in doing entrepreneurship. If they find that they have an inclination towards it, they can start forming teams.
We've created this community of people that are working and learning together, creatively solving problems, thinking about design and how we can use design approaches to solve these problems, and then turning those into businesses.
And we're back. All right, it's time for our first segment of the show. I guess second segment, the news segment still does count. Well, I'd like to introduce the outreach coordinator at SHAD and a SHAD alum. It's Mallory Basha. Hello, Mallory.
Hello, sorry it delayed for a second. I was just
no worries, not a delay at all.
I don't want to jump on too early. I was
come on early, stay late. That's what we do here at First Canada Live. So Mallory, thank you for being on the show. First Canada has been sponsored with SHAD for a while now. I don't even know how long. I've lost track.
Yeah, I also don't have the number for you. It's been a while. We love First, but yeah, it's been a long partnership.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, when I think about it, there's just always first students and alums who are going to SHAD constantly. So like you lose track of how long this partnership's been official. But We'd love to hear what you have to tell us about this program, because I think there's some of our audience, like Maria said earlier, there was a presentation at our school, so she learned a bit about it. But for people in our audience who aren't aware of SHAD, can you just tell us a little bit about the program?
Yeah, I believe I had a presentation. I've done both. I have the PowerPoint. I can share that, or I can go off the cuff as well. Either works.
I think we have your slides lined up and ready to go for you.
Yeah, I sent them along just in case,
Okay.
but I'm flexible either way. I'm a big advocate for the program. I can talk SHAD all day and all night. So the PowerPoint helps keep people into it because of the visuals. But SHAD is a month-long program for students. It is based on STEAM and entrepreneurship. So STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So there's lots underneath there. While robotics isn't specifically one of those acronyms, our mascot is the SHAD bot. So we definitely have a love for everything robotics and everything involved with that. And that's also reflected in the curriculum at each of the campuses. So SHAD is going to be all online for 2021. We start planning for SHAD, in September to deliver the caliber that following July. We start planning for that in September. So the only guarantee we have is by planning for an online program, because again, if 2020's taught us anything, it's that things are uncertain right now. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about SHAD. So if anyone here is thinking about applying to SHAD, or if you've never heard of it, if anyone watching has never heard of it, you're going to learn a little bit about it right now. So the next slide is, I'm just making sure there was 2 different versions because there's one that I typically use. There we go, perfect. You also mentioned I am a past SHAD alum. I participated in the program back in 2014, loved it. I absolutely, it was a very integral part. Yeah.
So Mallory, what got you excited about SHAD? Because I guess at this point, everyone's has a point where they've never heard of SHAD. So back when you were that, young person who had not heard of SHAD, what was it that lured you in?
It was a combination of, similar, it was said earlier in the show, you hear of people saying, oh, I'm applying to SHAD, or you have some other friends, or like an older sibling's friend went to SHAD. And then that kind of sparked it. And then someone similar to this, or when we were physically in classrooms and able to do some outreach in classrooms, I had someone come into one of my grade 10 classes, I believe, and talk about the program and what it's all about. And I said, okay, let me look into this. And it's a pretty awesome program.
Very, very cool. I'd love to hear more about it then.
Yeah, so it's all online this year. Like I said, this is the only way we could keep everything safe and still plan to deliver that the SHAD value we continue to deliver. So we were already starting planning for this coming July. It's 20 days and 100 hours of programming. So if anyone's familiar with our delivery last year or this past summer, that was all online and it was one big group. So this year we're changing it up and we've brought back our university partners. So there's going to be host university campuses. So this is going to be a little slice of university for students. So this is as close to what university students are experiencing today, you're going to also experience. Our program directors are actually faculty at each of these universities, and they've partnered with the institutions to, again, get as close to a replica at that institution as possible. So every single campus is going to look a little different from each other, obviously, because every university experience is different. So we give a lot of leeway to our program directors to really bring unique traits to each of their campuses that make that experience so special. So every SHAD student, no matter where they go, comes out with this set of deliverables that makes the program what it is and makes a SHAD alum who they are. But at the same time, 2 SHADs at 2 different campuses are going to get a different experience. So we really like that dichotomy that the program delivers. What I think your students will really get excited for is our real world design challenge, which is on the next slide, but it has to do with those interdisciplinary design teams. And then I'm going to touch on that. There it is. So yes, we have the real world design challenge. Students work with like-minded youth to come up with a solution to a real world problem. So we look at students and we give them a problem that's facing Canadians today. So our theme for this year is still very much a secret. We're not giving all that away.
Ooh, I like secrets. I like that.
But for reference, my SHAD theme it's in a how might we statement. So my how might we statement for my year was how might we decrease our individual ecological footprints.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Yes, and it's still, again, very topical today. But then students are going to get into their interdisciplinary design teams. So in those campuses, you're going to be split up into even smaller groups. and you're going to start spitballing ideas, and you have to find one idea that your team wants to run with. And then we bring in mentors and community figures and entrepreneurs from the respective communities, or they could be from all over Canada. It's within the program directors network. And they come in and they're going to ask you questions and guide you along that process. But this is truly a student-driven project. But we do have those resources there because we understand in a month, that's a lot to take on. So we do provide those resources to help, but it's really your project to take and run with it. So it's a wonderful combination of engineering, because a lot of the times the students find a way to get a prototype created or drafted or designed, but it's also a big element of entrepreneurship. So if we have any students here who maybe are toying with that idea of entrepreneurship, this is a wonderful way to get your toes wet.
Yeah, and that really works well with our community. Just a couple of weeks ago on the show, we had 4 or 5 first alums come on the show who've already started their own businesses, and they were talking about their startup journey. And so I think students who love that episode, I think like the SHAD seems like a natural for you.
Yeah, we love bringing in the entrepreneurship aspect, because it's not only I'm not an entrepreneur now, and I don't foresee myself being an entrepreneur, but some of those skills that are involved in entrepreneurship lend themselves to so many other topics. So it's so it really does help lead you to become a more creative person, problem solver, all of those soft skills that will help you in not only an entrepreneurship situation or scenario, it's going to help you in almost every aspect of life, especially post high school.
I think it's amazing that students are still able to connect with each other and still complete this challenge virtually. I think maybe before everything happened with COVID, just even to think that students could still come together and make such an amazing product is just super cool to me.
The ideas that the students come up with, honestly, sometimes we want to have a little NDA. Now we don't get too cryptic, but I'm not going to say Pokemon Go was invented as SHAD before it came out, but they had a pretty close idea. Some of the ideas a few years later, they're popping up and getting lots of traction. So it is pretty astounding to see what students come up with.
That's awesome. All right, let's keep hearing about this good stuff.
Yeah. The next slide is, so that's the universities. So these are our host university campuses. So we have campuses from UBC all the way to MUN, so coast to coast. We are so happy that we have such recognizable institutions, some of the top institutions in the country partnering with us. And again, our universities are what bring such an integral element to the program. They're the ones that host the students and bring in that learning aspect, because SHAD truly is a program for those who love to learn. So a typical day at SHAD, you're going to wake up, there's going to be lectures. So these lectures are from university professors typically, and there's no tests, there's no evaluations like that. Again, it's for the love of learning. We ask professors, we say, come in and talk about a subject that you're passionate about. That's it, as long as it falls underneath STEAM and entrepreneurship, which covers a lot of topics. So you're going to get lectures from people only talking about things that they're so inspired by and invested in. So it's lots of energy. They're so creative. For an example, we've had a chemistry professor come in and give a demonstration about art restoration and about the chemistry that goes in behind restoring some of these old pieces of art. So it can really be on anything. Some people ask if there's certain lectures on specific topics, and we can't say yes or no. It's really up to the campuses. So, but this is really a big part of where no campus looks the same. It's like a fingerprint kind of a thing. No campus and also no SHAD experience is going to be identical because they're so different, but we think that really makes the program what it is. This is also a good way to network with professors. And again, if you're being keen and already, looking into post-secondary opportunities and researching what university is going to be like, this is a slice of university. This is truly what students are experiencing right now. So that's that as well. One fun fact is our Laurentian University campus is our very first bilingual campus. So we're really excited to be launching that this year as well. And I believe we have some videos here, but I'm aware of the time, so we could skip past this slide. That is okay. We have 6 minutes. I'm trying to make sure we get all the key info. This is a video by Kingsley. You can find that on the SHAD Vimeo. That's a wonderful video. And as well, we understand we have some tactile learners here. We have lots of tactile learners at SHAD. Thanks to partners like Texas Instruments, we're able to take all of our accepted applicants and send them packages so that they can follow along in hands-on workshops. So the program is virtual, but you will get some hands-on learning elements because we don't want to ignore those tactile learners.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Just showing the outcomes. So we don't need to play that one, but that's someone holding up a sample of the Texas Instruments workshop. So that was hosted and led by Texas Instruments, and they walked them through that whole thing. So that was awesome. So we understand and don't want to ignore those students who enjoy hands-on learning.
I love that because I'm thinking of like, I'm doing chemistry right now, and we're learning about covalent bonds. So being able to like hold it in your hand and being able to visualize items is really helpful in like in its understanding, but also being able to put into practice with using these technologies. So that's awesome that they're able to get.
Yeah, and we received so much feedback from students saying how much they appreciated that. So in getting that feedback, we're absolutely taking that and running with it and amping it up for 2021 because students love hands-on learning. The next slide was on our keynote speakers. So we are so happy to be leveraging technology this year and to be bringing a high caliber and a big roster of speakers to students this year. So typically speakers are going to be unique to every campus when SHAD was physically in person. But now since we're with technology, if we have a really eager speaker who's going to be influential to all those SHADs, we can open it up and all SHADs are going to be participating in some of these big speakers that we're able to bring in. We had the Governor General speak to students last year, and we also, the fan favorite of all the SHADs was Michelle Romano. She's the blonde dragon on Dragon's Den. So they're doing an entrepreneurship project, and then they have one of the dragons from Dragon's Den there to answer questions, whether it was on the Real World Design project, or again, we have students wanting to start their own business, and they have a dragon there live to ask questions, give feedback, share insight. So we're really excited. And again, another really influential part of the program. I believe we have one slide that I want to touch on. We do have a big network. I'm conscious of time. We can go to the next slide. So this is what students will need to know. Before that is July 5th to July 30th. There it is. It is Monday to Friday. Students, you get your weekends. You can have your weekends, relax. It is 11 to 5 Eastern time. Sleep in. It's summer. We get it. Hit the snooze once or twice. So it's 11 to 5 Eastern, and then you also get your evenings to yourself. So we said 20 days because it is only Monday to Friday. You get those weekends, 11 to 5. That's where those 100 hours come in. And then I believe the next slide is who we're looking for. We're looking for grade 10 and 11 students who are engaged, open-minded, well-rounded, determined. I'm being mindful on time. So the application, if you want to apply, it is a personal profile. In your application, there's some essays, but those essays are just about you. It's all about you here. I believe it's name something you're passionate about. Name something that you've learned. And that doesn't need to be like an instrument. It could be you learning time management skills. It can absolutely be a skill that's still learning. So we want to learn a little bit about you to see that you're, again, an engaged, open-minded, creative individual. We ask for an academic transcript, but there's no grade cutoff, so do not worry about that. What we're really looking for is those essays as well as a reference letter from a mentor or an educator. They're going to be able to describe you in a way an academic transcript can't. And that's what we're really going to focus on. And there's a creative demonstration, which is optional. So if you're working on a robotics project right now and you want to take a picture of your robot and tell us about it, submit that. Tell us about your passion for robotics. That would be awesome. I helped read some of the applications. I'd love to see pictures of some of the stuff you guys are working on. It's awesome stuff. And in the last minute, we do have lots of bursaries out there for students. So if you're wondering if finances is going to be something that prohibits you from attending the program, I can't stress this enough. SHAD, we have lovely partners, and every year we provide over $1 million worth of bursaries to students every single year because we have generous partners who want to see students like you attend the program. Other than that, it's go to shad.ca to apply. That's a video about the program. Again, you can find that on our Vimeo. Thank you so much for having me. I know I rambled quite a bit. It's a lot of info, but hoping
that wasn't that wasn't rambling, Mallory. That was just great information. Like some of the adults in this chat are like, I want to go to adult SHAD. So also remember, I believe there's some first SHAD scholarships, right, Mallory?
Yes, we do have funding there specifically for first students. So there's going to be a section on that application where it's going to say affiliates, and first is going to be one of those organizations that you see. Tick that off. Let us know. It's going to benefit you on the application because, again, we love seeing first students in the community. They bring a lot to our SHAD community.
And, you were telling us pre-show, the deadline's coming up for the application?
Yes, December 7th. So we got 6 days. You got a full weekend. If you use the weekend, you can absolutely get it done. We want to see you there. So work on it. And yeah, it's definitely doable.
All right, Mallory. And there was one question from chat that I just want to get to, but if they want to know, what university did you attend for your SHAD session?
They're unfortunately not on our list for this year, but I went to Saskatchewan. So I will say Saskatchewan's a longtime partner with us. Due to the state of the world, they couldn't sign on. We're hoping to see them in future years, so we're not dismissing them yet. But I also worked as a PA at SHAD UPEI, and UPEI is back there. So they're a great university too.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much, Mallory. This was really informative. Those SHAD scholarships, don't forget to apply for them, students, and take a look at this opportunity. All I know, if you weren't sold by Mallory's presentation, there is a host of first alums who have gone through this program, and they swear by it. Some of the previous guests on the show, I know our co-host for the first episode of the season, Marie, she's a huge SHAD advocate. So talk to these people, talk to the SHAD alum. They'll tell you about this program and all that's good. Thank you, Mallory, for coming on. This is really, really exciting. I can't wait till we can have some of our students, and they'll come back on the show and tell us how much they loved it. And then we'll bring you back next year, and you'll be telling us about live in-person SHAD and how about the evolution of how everything's changed, what you learned from virtual. We're making it happen. We're saying it. We're just going to speak it into existence,
Absolutely, manifest. We love it.
Exactly. Thank you, Mallory. And we are going to be back with the Kahoot challenge in just a minute, but take a look at this word from our sponsor, Magna. All right, we're back. Hello, Maria. What did you think about the SHAD talk?
I think I was sold as soon as she said it starts at 11 a.m. because that sounds like a dream. And just the fact that they're going to have access to speakers at every single university, I think that actually is something that makes the program even more, give students even more information than they would have had in previous years. So I'm really excited to see what some of the feedback is from students who do attend the program this year. That looks really interesting.
I think it's gonna, be going virtual. We're facing the challenges right now too, but there's a lot. Virtual isn't necessarily a negative. I know, we obviously want things back to normal. We obviously do, but there's a lot of opportunity. Whenever there's a change, there's opportunities, and I think there's in terms of accessibility, there's a lot of people who might not have, been able to get themselves to a SHAD site somewhere who now can do this. There's a lot of people who might have to be home because in the evening they've got to take care of a sibling or help with their family. They can still do SHAD. So it's really cool that there's that neat opportunity, and really nice that they made it very convenient to teenagers don't like getting up early. So 11 a.m. that's a good start time. So hey, get those applications in December 7th. You still got a week. That's a lot of time. I know all y'all can churn out 2,000 word essays on Hamlet and stuff in a week. So you can definitely turn out a SHAD application.
Oh yeah.
All right. I think it's time for the Kahoot challenge. You ready for this one, Maria?
Oh yeah. Super excited.
Okay. Let's bring him out. Let's first introducing our challenger. He's the first Canada alum and volunteer mentor for team 1310 Runnymede Robotics. We got Gregor Browning.
Hello.
Hey, what up, buddy? I think this is really interesting, Gregor.
I'm excited for this.
I'm excited to have you here because, you were, a little bit low key, discreet in the first community for a while. You haven't been around for a while, but then the nomination came and it's the return of Gregor to try and take down the champion. Let's introduce our champion. He is a first Canada alum, lead mentor for Team 4476. Like Gregor, also a first LEGO League alum and a FRC alum. From the Waffles, we got Brennan Bibic.
Hello, hello.
Hey, buddy. So Brennan, here's the word. Like, after you won, there's been a lot of talk basically saying like, how is Brennan ever going to lose? Like, everyone's thinking like you're going to put on like a Ken Jennings kind of winning streak here because you've got so much trivia knowledge. But Mickey with the clutch nomination of Gregor, someone who I think is up at the same level as you when it comes to like, you know, scouting historical knowledge. So I think this is going to be really interesting. So do either of the players have anything to say to each other right now?
Well, I think it's going to be close, but as always, I have the faith in my abilities. So, you know, good luck, Gregor. You're going to need it.
I'm close. We've got a tough couple of questions ahead of us, so we'll see how this goes.
And
yeah, we might both need it.
And you two both lived in Kingston at the same time when Gregor was going to Queen's University, and Brennan, I don't know.
Yeah,
I lose track of how old anyone is. Whether
yeah,
we were
in Kingston, I think, at the same time for some period of time, at least.
Yeah, so like this is like battle for like the championship. Who owns the town right now? Who reps the town?
Absolutely.
You know? Gregor, I'm surprised you don't have your Leatherman jacket on. So
no, I've retired that for now.
All right, Maria, do you have a prediction you want to make on who you think's going to take it here?
Oh, that's a hard one. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Okay, I think we're just gonna have to see. I think, like you said, it's a pretty even match. So we'll see who comes out on top.
Yeah, let's just see. Let's prove it on the field or on your phones and on the chat feed. Okay, so everyone, let's join into the Kahoot. It is 810-6156. While people are joining in, let me tell you, remember, our contestants are playing against each other, but we also have our audience is playing for prizes. First prize in this week's Kahoot is a First Canada fanny pack. Second prize is a Moleskine notebook. Third prize is a First Canada toque. So get in for all of this. Also, just a reminder, some of the times our contestants have finished in the top 3, meaning that some prizes have gone unclaimed. So if you're in the top 6 this week, send in your information, a screenshot and your username to communications@firstroboticscanada.org. We can guarantee a prize for the top 3, but maybe 4th, 5th, or 6th will get a prize too. So you just want to tune in for that. And Maria, yes, you can play as a panelist. So dive on in.
Perfect. I'll put my 4 years of first knowledge to the test.
All right. It is 810-6156. Gregor, what's your name in here?
I'm in here as a Brave Buffalo.
Brave Buffalo. And what about you, Brennan?
Social orcs. I don't know what an orcs is.
Orcs, it's like a gazelle with like the horns.
Okay.
Plains of Africa. I think you'd find them at the Serengeti, I believe. That's if we're doing like mammal trivia, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm good to go. Tegan says Brennan is on the plains of Africa. I'm not really sure what that means, Brennan. But
I don't know either.
Yeah, we'll just go with that.
Not currently, at least.
Okay, we got 18 players in here. It seems to have settled down. Oh, we got 19. Okay, let's get started. First question. In the 2009 FRC game, approximately what percentage of points were scored by robots as opposed to human players? 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, 80 to 100. Which percentage of points scored by robots? Because robots could score points that game, but like a lot of first games, human players also could score. So, one. Brennan, I believe this was your first year in FRC, right?
This was, yeah. My first year on a team with 2809. Yeah.
Won the rookie all-star to get to championship that year. There we go. Answer 40 to 60%. It was about 53% actually, to be more precise, was the amount of points scored by, let's hold for 1 second before we, I just want to talk about this question a little bit. So actually more than half the points were scored by, sorry, I got this wrong. It was 47% of the points scored by robots, about 53% scored by human players. So human players scored more points than robots in this game. So Maria, I'm assuming you were not involved in 2009.
No.
Probably just a little bit before. But that game was wild. And we talked about this on last week's show where human players were doing most of the scoring. And like your basic job was to get your robot as far away from the human players as possible and just kind of drive in these weird patterns to make it harder for them to shoot into your net. And like there were these like amazing human players out there. There was one, we nicknamed him Brown Jordan from Team 1241, and he just like went up for these shots, and he could like, his jump shot was like above, like his hands would go like above the player station glass. It was absolutely wild.
I'm sure there were many basketball players recruited for robotics teams.
That's right. One of the big voices in First Canada, James Spencer, was the who you know him as our 6'3" game announcer, was the human player for Team 610 back in the day, and Noeen Kashif, who's now the lead mentor for 7558, was a human player for Team 188 back in the day. Brennan, did you get this question right?
I did.
Gregor?
No, I did not. I thought it was more.
All right, so Brennan, oh, but
sitting in ninth, so I'm not. There's a lot of people that got it. I think it was like one of the slowest ones.
You spent your time thinking on that one. Okay, so let's get ready for our next question. At the 2013 GTR West, what was the average number of teleop frisbees scored per team during qualification matches? 0 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 to 16. Some background for our guests. Robots were allowed to hold 4 frisbees at a time, so that might influence your answer if you're thinking in terms of cycles. The goals were pretty large that year, and this was including low goals, medium goals, and high goals. So you could think of it that way. I know that both Brennan and Gregor were in high school at this time, so they were living this one as either scouts or drive team members. And only one person got it right. 0 to 4. Brennan, was that you? Did you get it?
Yeah.
Wow, he is good. Teams were averaging less than 1 cycle. And this was, don't jump ahead yet. Don't jump ahead yet. We need to talk this through. This was at like the last event of the season. This was like a really, really good event. And we had some of the top teams in the world. We had future world champion, 1241 was at that event. Obviously, arguably 2056's best robot ever, arguably 1114's best robot ever, and like and this is what our average was. It was about 3.3. If you add in auto was about 1.2, where you started with 3 discs. So just a reminder to everyone. When we think about robot matches, we think of like the best, and we think of like all this awesomeness, but like everyone participates, and like lots of teams struggle with this stuff. This stuff is hard, so this was a good question. I'm glad I was able to stump everyone, but except for Brennan.
Yeah, you got me there.
Okay. All right.
Funny story about this event, actually, too. There was a team that I remember, because I was volunteering at this event, I think.
Okay.
And there's a team that was struggling all event, trying to score frisbees. I remember, because they hadn't gotten any. And then the face that they had when they scored for the first time, it was like one of the last qualification matches. They were so happy, but it was just they actually scored on the wrong goal, but they realized that it went into the 2-point goal. But it was just the accomplishment from that team is so amazing.
Yeah, that game was hard also because frisbees were a brand new game piece. Everyone's used to balls, like balls are round. We know how to pick those up, and frisbees were a challenge. So that was good. All right.
That season was really interesting. We saw the kickoff and we saw the frisbees and said, how are we going to do this? This is impossible. Then a few weeks go by. That was the first week of Robot in 3 days. And then you see some prototypes, and then suddenly the frisbees looked really simple and easy. And then putting it all together onto the robot, suddenly it was a hard game again, and it all came in together.
Yeah, that was one where it was just like the tweaking, getting everything just right, avoiding jams, all came in big. Okay, let's jump to our next question here. At the 2013 GTR West, what was the average teleop frisbee shooting percentage during qualification matches? So we give you a little bit of tease there, like how many frisbees were they scoring, but what about shooting percentage?
A lot of good memories from this event. This was the last one for a while. It was in the Hershey Center, so that was a good atmosphere.
I'll say, as people are getting their answers in, if you don't know the answer for this one, just guess the shooting percentage of like any other game, because shooting percentages are pretty constant in first. Brennan, did you get this one right?
I did not. Nope. I was not the sole champion here.
It was around 64%. Which is where 2012, what was the shooting percentage? 66%. 2020, what were shooting percentages looking like early in the season? Like 60%. It's just kind of like, that's like the magic number. Same thing with average number of cycles, you know, is like the 1, 2, 4, 8 rule that I like to talk about is like 1 is the kind of like most teams, 2 is like an average team, above average team at early season event, 4 is an average team at championship, 8 is elite. And like these rules just kind of magically apply. I don't understand how they do. It's kind of like the Fibonacci sequence just popping up in life, but this is good.
They weren't kidding when they said this would be a difficult Kahoot. It seems like the last 2 answers only had one person.
We're messing with people right now. We're trying hard. Gregor, did you get this one? Were you the one?
No, I was not the one.
All right, let's go to the next question. Ooh, bronze egret coming up on you, Brennan.
Oh, look at that.
Okay. Who was the first member of a Canadian team to win the Woody Flowers Finalist Award? What's the word win in there? Was it Rolly Anderson, Mark Bredner, Sean Lim, or Ian McKenzie? Managed to find a picture with all 4 of them in that picture. So, first member of a Canadian team to win the Woody Flowers Finalist Award. Hey, Gregor from the chat, Rishi says he believes in you.
Oh, I appreciate it.
And the correct answer is Rolly Anderson. Mr. Mark Bredner was the first to win the championship Woody Flowers Award, but the Woody Flowers Finalist Award, Rolly Anderson won in the first year of that award back in 2004 at the Old Canadian Regional. So, Gregor, did you get that one right?
That one I did. I'm on the board.
All right, Brennan?
I did not get this one.
Oh, wow. Gregor, there's a chance for a comeback here. Maria, did you get this one?
I did not.
All right, we're doing good, but I thought that one was a tricky one because I think everyone automatically jumps to Mr. Brenner on that one, but Rolly Anderson won that one beforehand. So Social Oryxen first, but it's Rocky Ferret, Snowy Alpaca, Speedy Goat, and Bronze Egret all catching up right there, Brennan. Okay. Next question. Who was the first American FRC team to win a regional in Canada? Team 33, the Killer Bees. Team 48, Delphi Elite. Team 68, Rocktown Thunder, or Team 378, another Delphi team from Rochester. So
you're taking well into the archives here.
This is a tricky one.
It is a tricky one.
My mind immediately jumped somewhere, and we're going to see if that was correct.
Team 378. We stumped the audience again. Brennan, did you get this one?
No.
Gregor?
Nope.
Okay, so this was tricky. This was tricky. So Team 33 won the Canadian Regional in 2004. Team 68 won the Waterloo Regional in 2005. But 378 won the Canadian Regional at the Hershey Center, now called the Greater Toronto West, or now called Ontario Provincials, in 2003 with Team 1088 West Hill Collegiate and Team 912 Sir Alexander Mackenzie. So that was 1088 was a rookie team from West Hill, just like down the road from where I'm pointing, like here in Scarborough, and they just seeded number 1. They picked this like wicked fast team from Rochester, and the 2 of them just cleaned up. It was really, really cool to see. So
I don't even think I was alive. I wasn't even alive in 2003 yet, actually.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
All right. Well, Bronze Egret has passed you, Brennan.
Yeah.
Wow.
Somebody knows their trivia.
Yeah, Bronze Egret. I wonder if that is Mr. Bredner. He often plays in chat, so trying to claim back his title indirectly. So let's go on. We got only 2 questions left. At the 2019 Ontario Provincial Championship, what was the average number of game pieces scored per team during quals? This is for everyone now. 1 to 3, 3 to 5, 5 to 7, 7 to 9. This is total qualification, so teleop and auto. Mr. Brenner says he's Rocky Ferret, who's also up there. Hagen, are you Bronze Egret?
Apparently not.
No? Thought she was doing some subterfuge there by saying he is Bronze Egret.
One person is thinking really hard about their answer.
All right, let's jump to the answer here. 3 to 5. It was 4.84. Most of the audience got it. Brennan, did you get this one?
No.
Oh no, Gregor?
No, neither did I. You're doing
Oh
well.
no.
Wow. So what's really interesting is at Humber, it was 2.3, and it basically doubled by the time we got to provincials. And so, Brennan, what did you guess? I'm curious.
I guess 1 to 3.
You thought it was, and I understand
Yeah.
why you would, because pretty much throughout the season, it was 1 to 3, but at provincials, when you get, the top 72 teams, it did jump up a little bit. Brennan and Gregor, you guessed high?
No, 1 to 3 as well.
Oh, you guessed 1 to 3 as well? Yeah. Because it was a little bit deceiving because the short cycles changed things up. So that's why things were a little bit higher in general. And our provincial championship was just really, really like that, so it's interesting one there. So and that's like straight from, now you even have me doubting myself, Brennan, but that's straight from the Blue Alliance. So it's not even like bad scouting data, because I know you've been doing the analysis between scouting data and API, but I pulled that from the API. So, all right, let's take a look at our leaderboard. Bronze Egret solidly in first. Rocky Ferret is in third. Gregor, what place are you in?
Oh, I'm all the way down in 12th right now.
Brennan?
I'm 9th. So.
9th. Maria?
I'm 11th. I'm one place in front of that.
Oh, yeah, there we go. All right, let's see who's going to take it out between the 3 people on the show. And I think it's double the points this time, is it?
The audience really knows their stuff here.
Double the points. Rank the following teams from most to least blue banners as per the Blue Alliance. I'll tell you right now, these are the top 4 teams in history in blue banners.
Oh, this is tough.
So we got 2 Canadian teams on here, 11, 14, 20, 56, and 2 American teams. 3 Hall of Fame teams as we get ready to talk about the Chairman's Award.
I got mine locked in. I
Brennan's
100% know it. So there's your pressure, Gregor.
All right.
And now I get it wrong, and now I just look dumb.
My boy Drake is there holding the Larry O'Brien trophy, just being like, yo, that's a lot of blue banners. I met Drake on the set of Degrassi back in the day.
You were on the set of Degrassi? No way.
Yeah, Maria. Okay, yes.
11-14, yeah.
Yeah, Drake's last episode on Degrassi, 11-14 was on that episode too. We helped write the episode because Degrassi called us up and said, hey, we want to do a plot about competitive robots. And so they called us up and I got to help write the script, and 6 of our old robots were on the show and our students were extras driving things around, and it was super awesome. And so coolest part of the story is, I'll tell the answer first. So 254, 11-14, 20-56, and 67 is how that one goes. So pause here. I want to finish the Drake story because this is so cool. So I'm on set and then I see that, and Drake isn't super famous at this point, but he's still famous enough. And I see him and I just kind of like go, nod my head. And he nodded his head back at me. And like at that point, we were like best friends basically for life. Because like we had done it. Like that's basically we're best friends.
Obviously.
So, yeah. Like Drake, if you're watching the show, I know you probably are. Just shoot me a text. Let me know which are you, like Smokey Alpaca. Is that you in the chat?
Maybe we can get him featured on the show next time.
Exactly. Yeah. Next time. First Canada Live with Drake. That's a little cool. He'll be a good host. A little bit of a step down from Maria, but it's still pretty good. Right?
No, I do my best.
It's true.
I know, exactly. Brennan, you got this one right?
I did.
Yes. Gregor, did you get this one right?
I did too.
Yeah. I feel like anyone who like looks around at the Blue Alliance, this is like right on the main page of the insights. So it's for a while 11-14 was closing in on 254. Actually, I think it was at Champs 2014. If 11-14 had won that matchup that went to 3, we would have caught them, but then things split. And then 2015 we had a chance to catch them again, but then Einstein didn't go the right way, and then after that they just started rolling. So it's tough. But let's take a look at our standings now. That was double the value. And Brennan locked that in quick. So that's close to 2,000 points for him.
It'll be close.
Third place.
That's
Social
me.
Oryx. That's Brennan. Second place. Super Hamster. And first place. Rocky Ferret, Mr. Bredner.
Nicely done.
Nicely done, Mr. B. But on the show tonight, that means Brennan, you will continue on as our Kahoot champion. Gregor, where did you finish?
I finished top 8, number 8 on the board.
Top 8. And what about you, Maria?
Top 12.
top 12. Very good job by everyone. Brennan, that means you'll be coming back in the new year when we have the next episode. It's going to be probably not till February, but so we haven't forgotten about you. Gregor, is there someone like you'd like to nominate to come on the show to challenge Brennan? It can't be someone who's been on before. So you can't nominate Mr. Gregor again.
At the top of my head, to be honest, I figure I should ask them in advance before throwing their name out here, but I will get one. I'll get someone to you shortly.
Okay, cool. We got some time here, but let us know, and then how about you let us know before next week's show, and then we can hype it up on next week's show on who that person's going to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and feel free to reach out to some of the other past I don't want to say losers, but like Lisa and Rishi and Rishi. I'll call Rishi, but like reach out to those folks and see what they think and come up with someone who can challenge Brennan. We know there's people out there because two people beat him today, so he's not unbeatable. But that was a really good performance. That was awesome, everyone. Thank you for coming on. But we are going to be back with some discussion about the Chairman's Award in just a second. All right, we're back. Hey, just a reminder, if you were like even in the top 6 in trivia, send in your screenshot of the chat and your username to communications@firstroboticscanada.org because you might win a prize, because I have a good feeling that Mr. Brenner is going to pass on his prize and pass that one down. So there's prizes available for people. So sign in and do that. It looks like Tegan Poles, one of our referees and mentor for Team 4476, was the one who was second, who actually beat Brennan. So there we go. That might be a challenge if we could have Tegan versus Brennan. So
cool stuff.
All right, Maria, have you been involved in a Chairman's Award submission before?
I haven't, but I've heard a little bit about how it works, and I know that it's more so about like community outreach, right? And that's kind of how you get you can frame your submission.
Yeah, we're going to talk exactly about what the Chairman's Award is about now. So I'm going to give a little presentation on this, and we're going to answer Maria's exact question, because like, what is this award about? So let's start taking a look at these slides here. So this is the presentation I've been giving since 2013 after 1114 got to the Hall of Fame. And one of the things that the teams who are in the Hall of Fame, and you get into the Hall of Fame by winning the Championship Chairman's Award, one of the things that we really believe in is trying to pass it forward and try and help other teams out. So this is the presentation that we made to kind of like unlock the secrets of success of this award. So let's take a look at the next slide. That is me. That's not interesting stuff. So like, yeah, the important part is I was on a team that won the Championship Chairman's Award in 2012 as the lead chairman's mentor. So that's why I talk about this stuff. So let's go to the next slide. And this is kind of an overview of what we're going to try and cover here. I give a much more detailed version of this presentation, usually a 1.5 to 2 hours. We're just going to touch it on a high level here today. So what is the award for? And this is like exactly what Maria was talking about. So it's community outreach is a piece of it, but there's a big core to it. It honors the team that in the judge's estimation best represents a model for other teams to emulate and which embodies the goals and purpose of FIRST. So we are problem solvers in this community. When we are given a game, we break it down. And with an award like the Chairman's, we're going to break it down as well. So if the award is, that's the description of the award, well, what is the purpose of FIRST? We need to know what that is before we understand what this award is about. And the mission of FIRST is to transform our culture by creating a world where science and technology are celebrated and where young people dream of becoming science and technology leaders. So this award honors a team that the judges think is the best role model for teams to emulate at changing culture towards a world where FIRST and science and technology are celebrated. So this award is the culture changing award. It's about changing our culture to a place where, following the mission of FIRST. So there's a lot that goes into it. Next slide. A big question is why should teams submit? And there's a lot of reasons, but I think the main reason that I see is pretty much every team out there is already fulfilling the mission of FIRST. So if you're already fulfilling the mission, why don't you just document what you're doing and submit? Because then you're sharing with the judges about your journey. And that's really what this is. Remember what Mal was saying earlier about a scholarship, about SHAD application? It's just like you talk about yourself. That's what the Chairman's Award is. Talk about the awesome things your team is doing. And at the worst, you're going to have a really neat history of your team and really cool submission. At the best, you might win a Chairman's Award. So that's I think my screen is foggy. What's going on there? All right, next slide. So what do you need to do to win? The executive summary has changed this year, and the Hall of Fame was on First Canada Live back around episode 5, where we did a detailed presentation on this. You can take a look at that on our YouTube channel. The slides available for that are on the First Hall of Fame website as well. So you want to take a look at that. But there's a lot of neat things going on with the executive summary. And there's basically the executive summary consists of questions which help you set up your submission. So one of the questions is, and I'm not going to go through all of this in detail here. There's a lot of reading here, but I just want to hit on the high points. Question 1 is, describe the impact of the first program on team participants within the last 3 years. This can include, but is not limited to, percentages of those graduating high school, attending college, in STEM careers. The new executive summary questions really spell out what they want you to do. So what is the impact of FIRST on your team? But remember, here's a mistake that teams make. It's easy because students writing the essay to focus on, well, this is how it impacted me. This is how it impacted me as a student. But a FIRST team is more than just students. Mentors, the teachers, the partners, the sponsors, they're all part of it. So impact applies to everyone. So think about how FIRST has changed lives, graduation rates, students earning FIRST scholarships, alumni going on to workforce success, sponsors being able to develop employees or have corporate growth because of the team. Those are the types of things that you want to be talking about. A really cool question that is new this year. Describe your community along with how your team addresses its unique opportunities and circumstances. So this is really important because a lot of people think that, oh, well, you can only win the chairman's award if you start a lot of teams, but I'm in an area where there's no teams to start. And I need to tell you that that's wrong because the judges are evaluating teams based on your circumstances, but you need to tell them what your circumstances are. So, it's urban versus rural, like starting one team in a community where there's only one school within 100 square kilometers versus starting a team where there's 10 schools in, 5 square kilometers, it's going to be weighed differently, but you need to let the judges know about the opportunities and challenges specific to your community. And this is also important from an equity perspective, because before, teams who had distinct opportunities or distinct challenges had to use part of their essay to talk about this, and they couldn't talk about all their other efforts. Now there's a specific question for everyone to bring this up, and by being asked directly, teams don't necessarily need to feel ashamed about talking about the challenges that they face, and that's important, and that's part of equity, diversity, and inclusion. Next slide.
I think it's great that, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, please interrupt me whenever you want.
I just wanted to say, I think it's great that that's now become a part of the Chairman's Award, because I know, at least as a youth council, we've really been focusing our efforts around ED&I. And I think it's great that that's also being transferred over to awards, just to show how FIRST is working towards making a more progressive, making everything in the community more progressive.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, like the judging process in FIRST has always been had a focus on equity, diversity, inclusion, but so much of it was like kind of behind closed doors. Now they're really putting it out there so teams understand that this is at the forefront. And if you like this question, Maria, you're going to like another new question that they added that we're going to talk about a little bit.
Perfect.
Describe the team's methods, with emphasis on the past 3 years, for spreading the FIRST message in ways that are effective, scalable, sustainable, and creative. How does your team measure results? So what are you doing to spread the FIRST message? But they're telling you exactly what they want to hear about. How are your projects effective? That means that they've shown measurable impact. It's one thing to say that, oh, we started a team in this community, but show us some impact. How has that changed the community? How has that changed the school? How has that changed the lives of the students on that team? Scalable. Are the projects you've started, can they grow and expand into the future? Or is it just kind of like they've maxed out? Judges love to see things that are scalable because that means there's potential for growth and potential for more impact. Sustainable. This is a big one for chairmans because for years, I think a lot of people thought that the Chairman's Award was just kind of like you do something just for chairmans and then you forget about it. But now the judges want to know that your project is sustainable and that it's going to live into the future and not just last for one cycle. So you have to explain why this is going to keep going. And sustainability is so important in everything we do right now. And it's wasteful to just do these one-shot efforts. So this is something that can grow. And then creative, like what's different? If your creative way to spread the message is the same as everyone else, you're doing it wrong, and like teams need to come up with new ways of doing things and be cutting edge. Next slide. Next slide, there we go. The major criteria. So again, talking about this one, you want to set yourself apart. Back one. Back to 8. Awesome, thank you. The judges want proof that your initiatives are working. Can we go? I think your slides are jumping. It's like, all right, everything's going crazy, but I can still keep talking. Cool things that 1114 did. We had an exhibit at the Ontario Science Centre of a robot, which kind of was like a museum type exhibit. As we talked about earlier with Maria, we did Grassy, which was like super, super hype. We were at did the halftime show of a CFL game. Students designed curriculum for the Design and Tech Center, and dream big. Go crazy. We created plans for a drivetrain that ended up being used by like 6% of firsts that season or something wild like that. Made a phone app in 2012, long before people were making apps. So, there's anything you can accomplish, like you can do. And that's what's really neat about this award. There's no limits. You can do what you want to do and figure out like what you're in love with and focus on that. Next slide. And we're here on slide 9, and we're talking about the next criteria. Please provide specific examples of how your team acts as role models within the FIRST communities. So focus on what you do best and what helps fulfill the mission of FIRST. This is like really important because I think a lot of times people focus on, it's like, what are we supposed to do to win the award? And there's nothing you're supposed to do. Like, you win the award by being the best version of yourself. Where teams struggle is when they try to be a team that they're not. So what I really believe in the Chairman's Award is focus on what you are really good at and what you love to do and do that sort of stuff. So if you love community outreach, go do like awesome community outreach, And Maria, I think you can relate to this with the Youth Council, where we have so many different projects on the Youth Council. The Youth Council members work on the ones that they gravitate toward, that they're interested about and they're passionate about. I recommend that every FRC team does the same thing, where you figure out what you're passionate about as a team or what individual members are passionate about. And if someone has a passion about spreading ED&I, then dive into that project that way. You can do that as part of Chairman's. If someone has a passion for, playing with Arduinos and making cool kits that little kids can play with, do that. If someone has a passion for First Lego League Challenge, mentor that way. These are the kinds of options that you have.
Definitely. And it helps that if you're interested in the actual, like whatever area you're actually excelling in, because that makes you want to do it more. Like if you really like community outreach and you're really passionate about that, you will want to put as much effort into it as possible. It doesn't feel forced. It's just, it's organic.
And that's like life advice too. Like when you're trying to pick a university, when you're trying to pick a job, you're trying to pick anything in life, pick what you're passionate about, follow what gets you excited. What's like, oh, I want to work on this. This is like really, really cool. And there's no better feeling. I've been working on a project at work right now, which I'm like super excited about. There's no better feeling than waking up in the morning. It's like, yeah, I get to work on what I'm excited about. And so like seize those opportunities. So we're going to keep talking about the next slide. There's another question in there as we move on to the next slide that talks about assisting starting new teams. And that's just standard chairman stuff. You want to talk about the teams that you've helped in the community. But not much explanation needed there. This is a new question. Beyond starting teams, what initiatives have you done to help inspire young people to be science technology leaders and innovators? What results have you seen in your efforts in the past 3 years? So another myth about the Chairman's Award is that people think it's like the award for who starts the most teams. And that's why they made the changes to the award this year, to make it clear that, yes, there's a question about starting teams. Starting teams is important. We want to grow FIRST. We want more people to have access to FIRST because we know how important and exciting this program is. That being said, there's more to this award than starting teams. So this is like, what have you done to help inspire people other than starting teams? This is the chance to talk about like your really cool programs out there. 1241 has their library program that doesn't necessarily associated with the FIRST, having started a team, but that's a program that you want to talk about. And so these are the sorts of initiatives, like cool stuff you've done that isn't necessarily a FIRST team. It could be, it could be robot curriculum. It could be helping with programs overseas. It could be helping at a local community center. There's all sorts of neat things, but this is where it ties into, and it kind of ties into what you were saying, Maria, about outreach, that the different forms of outreach that aren't associated with a team.
Yeah.
Let's see slide 11. But yeah, the Chairman's Award is about more than starting teams, and we need to remember that. I described the partnerships you've created with other organizations, teams, sponsors, educational institutions, philanthropic entities, and what you've accomplished together with an emphasis in the past 3 years. One thing that's important to remember here is partnership is 2 directions. Like if I just help someone, that's not necessarily a partnership. A partnership is when you're helping each other. So sponsorship is one of the things. People like to talk about their sponsors, but they're always like, our sponsor gives us this, our sponsor gives us that. And that's amazing. But what have you done for your sponsor? And a lot of the time you've done stuff for them without realizing it. And maybe you've gone and given a presentation at your sponsor and you want to talk about that because you've gotten them excited about robotics, or you've given your sponsors opportunities to mentor. And one of your sponsor employees has come to mentor and then they realize, wow, I love mentoring so much. I want to become a teacher now. That's like partnership, where people are learning and growing because of FIRST. Let's go to slide 12. And this is the question that I was telling you about earlier, Maria. Describe your team's efforts in the past 3 years to promote equity, diversity, and inclusion on your team, FIRST, and your communities. This is a new question for 2021. And equity, diversity, and inclusion is a strategic pillar for FIRST and for FIRST Canada, and it needed to be part of the award. And now there's a specific place to do it. So this is good for teams to do some introspection here and find ways to promote and improve. How are you reaching new groups within your community? Which groups are underrepresented on your team? What barriers exist on your team and how are you taking them down? And I think, if we're to grow as a community, we have to ask ourselves these tough questions and be okay with whatever the answers are and then grow based on those answers. There's no reason to hide from them. And it's very okay for you to look at this question and say, we haven't done much. And that's okay, I think, for 1 year, because then you're going to understand that for next year, it's like, we got to start improving. And then tell the judges about your journey, about how you've improved and the steps you've taken. Like, we're all trying to get here, but we've got to go by steps. But if you are down here, you need to admit that you're down here and learn to improve, as opposed to just pretending you're not, because that's not going to help anything. We want to talk about no more performative actions here. Let's do some real stuff. Next question is about sustainability. Explain how you ensure your team and the initiatives you have created will continue to run effectively into the future. Do things that last. This is really cool because in the past, I feel that teams were always feeling pressured to answer the question, what's new, what's new? Well, what's new is important, but what's old that you've still continued is very important as well. Sustainability matters. Next slide. Describe your team's innovative strategies to recruit, retain, and engage your sponsors within the past 3 years. How do you get your sponsors? How do you keep them? How do you evolve them in your team? Highlight one area in which your team needs to improve and describe the steps that are actively being taken to make those improvements. We talk a lot about our successes in FIRST, and that's awesome. Success is cool, but we truly learn from failures, and every FIRST team has failures. Like everyone, every person in life has failures. Even the person you think is like the most perfect has failed, and that's okay, because when we fail, we lick our wounds for a little bit, we get up and we say, okay, now this is how I'm going to improve. This is how I'm going to rise above. This is how I'm going to become better. And I just want to hear about that too. The last question, and I like this one. Describe your team's goals to fulfill the mission of FIRST and the progress you have made towards this goal. It's essentially the question of, why do you deserve the Chairman's Award? It was very famous at the championship. It used to be the last question asked in some of the judges' room. The judges would flat out ask you, why does your team deserve the Chairman's Award? And presenters would, it's like, that's a tough question to answer. We're so humble in the FIRST community, but you have to explain not only what you've done to fulfill the mission of FIRST, but progress you've made towards the goal. So like where you want to be, where you are, and how you're getting there. Big stuff. And like, that's a really cool question. But I think for every student, when you're writing a scholarship application, I want you to ask yourself, why do I deserve this scholarship? And when you're going for a job application, why do I deserve this job? Why do I deserve this spot in university? And when you can answer that question effectively, you'll know that you're ready for these interviews. Next slide. So what shouldn't we do? We talked about what you need to do to win the award, and that's like the first half of this presentation. Let's blaze through what you shouldn't do. Don't do things just for the sake of winning the award. Many teams feel like that chairman's is a checklist or a race, and they're just trying to be like other teams. And I find when you do things just for the sake of the award, it feels very performative and you don't have your passion in it and you don't really deliver the results you want to see. So if you're invested in the idea, you'll naturally do a better job and make larger impact. Maria really touched on this earlier, and I thought that was a really cool point. So focus on what you love and what you're good at. Also, the Chairman's Award is a team award. Everyone needs to be behind the efforts. Remember, this award is about culture change. You can't achieve culture change unless if the culture doesn't exist within yourself. So the whole team's got to buy into this and believe in this. And this takes time, you know, and it may start as a small part of the team, but the teams who are winning, like the whole, like one of the coolest things I saw at championship, I think it was 2019. I was down by the chairman's judging area and team 1511, Rolling Thunder, they've come to Canada a few times, was going into the chairman's award room. And their whole team was standing outside the chairman's award judging room. The whole team left the stands to come there. I was like, what are you all doing? They're like, well, we all come to the field to cheer for our team when we have a match. Chairman's is just as important to us as a match. So the whole team's here to root them on. I thought that was so cool and so beautiful because it's like, it's showing that, yes, this is valuable. And this is just as important as the robot. Look at the team's really putting their, you know, their body where their mouth is. And like, I thought that was like beautiful. Like I got very emotional when I saw this. So I thought that was cool.
I really like that. And I really agree with it because it's almost, it makes me think of like a group project at school. Like if one person's doing all the work or like the ideas won't be as developed as they could be because you never know what new ideas a various diverse group could have. But it's also like there has to be some sort of like shared effort put in because it's supposed to be a team award. It's for everyone to share, not just for one person to be like, I did everything.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, culture change is big and you need a diverse group of people working to solve that problem. Next slide. The entirety of the submission needs to cover I said 6 major criteria, but it's more than 6 now, while fitting within the rules. It's just building a robot. And so this is really important. When we're building a robot, we're limited to 120 inches of perimeter, 120 pounds, 1 battery, X number of motors. Chairman submissions are limited as well. You have 10,000 characters for the essay, 7 minutes for the presentation, 5 minutes for a question period. Traditionally, there's 3 minutes on a video. So you can't talk about everything your team has done. You need to fit it in like a puzzle. Just like with a robot, you can't build every single function. Like this year, you couldn't necessarily like shoot high, but go under the trench and do the spinner. And like you have to pick and choose what you want to do. This year, a lot of teams picked not to do the spinner, which was cool. You can do that. And chairman's, you need to focus on what you're really good at. Because I would much rather read a chairman's essay where you focus on like 3 or 4 things and I learn about them. I really learn about what they are, as opposed to just blazing through 11 things. Just like, it's almost like it's bullet points. So let's hear in depth about what matters. Don't needlessly duplicate between the different sections because it wastes resources. Next slide. So each portion of the submission can be used to tell a different portion of the story. There's lots of ways to divide it up. Some people divide things up by criteria, but I always prefer to divide it up by style because I thought this was a neat way of doing things. So the executive summary is like, you got to answer the questions directly, and that's going to provide the judges with an overview of your team. Okay, so they're going to read that and they're going to kind of get like, okay, this is kind of like the essence of Team 10,000. The essay, I like that for using it for factual information about team achievements and endeavors. Don't rehash the executive summary, but go further in depth and expand. So like the essay, you've got more characters. This is where you can like, you know, get some details in there. The presentation. This is the story behind the numbers. Emphasize the key points in the essay and go in depth highlighting what's important, but also with the presentation. I find that writing an essay and conveying emotion is very difficult. There's a lot of talented writers who are amazing at that. That's why they're talented writers. You know, we read these amazing journalists, you know, like the Bruce Arthurs of the world, and you're just like, wow, that is really good. But I find that it's easier to really express emotion. If we could go back 1 slide, if we could really express emotion by talking things about. And so like, that's why I love the presentation, because that's where you can get the emotional side for the judges. And then the video, which is not part of the submission for 2021, is where you can tell a real emotional side, because you can use music and all that good stuff. And then the question period is where you reinforce and clarify key points. So the better this puzzle fits together, the more cohesive and powerful your submission will be. So you want to use like the essay for facts, the presentation for stories, and like lay that oomph in, and the question period to reiterate, because the question period, you would identify what the judges want to hear, and then you can really go in hard on what's important. Next slide. I need to speed up.
Karthik, just a quick question about the submission process. So there are obviously a bunch of different items that are needed for submission. Is there ever like, is it submitted all at once, or is one submitted individually, like say the essay first, and then they cut off like a bunch of teams from there? Like, how does that work?
Okay, so it's actually, everything is submitted at once, except the video. Well, the video is changing, so let's not even talk about the video right now, because it's going to be there for 2021. But the executive summary and the essay are submitted at one time, and then every team who submits an essay and executive summary will be interviewed for a presentation. Okay. So no one will be cut off. Now, that being said, the essay is the most important part of the submission, and so that's where you really, because that's where you set the impression of the judges. So like your essay has to be like your home run, and so a lot of teams kind of focus more on the presentation because it's a little bit easier to work around, but the essay is super, super important. But it's all submitted. The deadline is usually middle of February, usually a week before the end of the build season. It's middle of February for this year. And then the presentations will typically happen in March. Normally at events. This year it's all virtual. So we're still going to figure out what that process is like and what the schedule is going to be. Some questions about the whole presentation. Should we have a theme? Some teams will theme their essay and their presentation around something to kind of have a unifying factor. I know 1114, our last year, it was like a museum tour. So the essay kind of walked through the process. Like each section was like a section of the museum, and we talked our way through that in the presentation. Our presenters dressed up like they were museum tour guides. It was weird, but hey, the judges liked it. I don't know. And all the imagery had to do with museums. So a theme is a really nice way to provide a sense of unity and help make things look more cohesive. If you are going to do a theme, please do not plagiarize from other themes. This happens often. I've seen teams directly lift a theme they saw from another team in another part of the world, thinking judges wouldn't notice. And number one, just because someone doesn't notice doesn't make it, it's not wrong. And number two, like we do the right thing at first, and plagiarizing is never the right thing. But with the theme, don't force a bad fit. The theme needs to fit in with your team, and it should fit with your team branding and identity, you know? So like, and everyone on the team needs to buy into the theme. Like, so if you decided like, hey, my theme is going to be Game of Thrones. I theme everything around Game of Thrones because I love Game of Thrones. And everyone on your team's like, yeah, I don't have HBO Max. I've never watched that show. Like, that's not going to fit, you know? So it can't just be about one person. It's got to be like the team's got to buy into it, you know? And so if the team's excited about something, I don't know, like this year, think about things that are topical and popular right now. If you want to theme your entire presentation around Among Us and like you're going from different rooms in there, you're like, it's like, oh yeah, now in the electrical room where we're fixing the wiring again. And I love doing tasks. I don't know, like you could do that. Like that could be fun.
Definitely some creativity points there.
Yeah, yeah. And anyone can use that idea. I'm giving it away right now. So you're not plagiarizing me. I'm not going to say that. Because like, I'm sure many people have had Among Us ideas. Have you played that game, Maria?
I haven't. I know I heard like, I know it was really popular, especially I think like maybe in September, but I've seen that a lot. I watched the live stream of I think AOC and Jagmeet Singh. They were playing together. I love that. That
was pretty cool. I am very bad at this game. If anyone knows, I'm very, very bad. I just like to do my tasks. I like to get work done. I focus on getting stuff done. So anyways, next slide. The essay. So I'm going to read out this part because it's important. The essay portion of the chairman's award submission provides teams an opportunity to describe their activities and achievements in narrative form. While judges encourage creativity of expression, the essay must clearly deliver information and facts describing what the team is about. You've got a limit of 10,000 characters. I could do a whole presentation on the essay, but the most important thing is you need time to edit, review, and rewrite. The best advice I ever got from one of my English teachers in high school was, she said, the key to effective writing is rewriting. And no matter what you put on paper the first time, it can be better by editing it. But the only way you have time to edit is by starting early. The best teams go through hundreds of versions of the essay. You cannot do that in one night. And it's just like your robot. The first version of your robot, sometimes it's great, but it can always be better. And teams play more matches, the robot gets better. And they practice and the robot gets better. And that same thing happens with the essay. So have lots of people proofread it, get professional help. Don't only rely on your peers. Talk to the teachers in your school who, the history teachers who write persuasive papers, English teachers, maybe your parents, who knows, but get a lot of help and just iterate. The key to effective writing is rewriting. Please remember that. Forget about just first. That's anyone who cares about writing. That's super important. Next slide. I don't want to go too much into detail here, but statistics are very important in the essay, but raw numbers without context are weak. Here's an example. If you say 68% of our students went on to study engineering, that's nice, but I don't know what that means. Like that, is that good? Is that high? Is that low? But if you say 68% of our students went on to study engineering, which is an increase of 35% since our team's inception and is 42% higher than the national average, that is a good stat because now I know it's like, oh, that makes sense. Effective statistics take time that you need to do a lot of research. There's a lot of great data out there. Stats Canada, it's open source. Take a look at the good stuff. Also, make sure your numbers are verifiable. You need to be able to prove all your numbers to the judges. Another piece of the chairman's award, Maria, is there's a documentation form where if you make a claim, like one of the things on 1114, we always talk about how like 6 million people watched the episodes of Degrassi we were on. We had like letters from the producers of Degrassi stating that number. So you could show the judges like, hey, we can back this up. And now there's a whole form for teams to document this stuff. So your biggest claims will be the most scrutinized. And so you want to have this and don't exaggerate or lie because we see this a lot with, I doubt it's with university applications and scholarship applications and resumes. Resumes, people embellish and they tell mistruths, and that forces other people to feel that they need to embellish. And like, we don't need that in our first community. We're better than that. So let's compete honestly and be very modest with our numbers. Like we can be proud of our numbers, but like never exaggerate them. Next slide. I'm not going to talk too much about the definitions. The definitions exist. They live on the first website, but specific words like started, mentored, and assisted have definitions. Just like with robot, we have definitions of terms. So you want to use those terms carefully. Next slide. And I just talked about the documentation form. So next slide. Presentation. Hey, the presentation should tell the story behind the facts given in the essay. It should not duplicate the essay. It should stand apart. Who should present? You want your presenters to be outgoing, enthusiastic, well-spoken, people who, like our hosts on this show, like people who can get excited about first and talk energetically about it. I often get the question, how should the presenters look? That's a weird question. Good. Like they can either be very professional or maybe they can tie it in with the theme, but they should be comfortable. Events are long days. This year, presentations are going to be via Zoom or something like this. So presenters are going to be in their own home, but I think it's important. Make sure you're wearing some team gear so the judges clearly know who you are and so you're memorable. Next slide. I don't want to talk too much about visual aids because the rules are still coming out on this, but presentations are virtual for 2021 and you can screen share, but body language and eye contact are going to be even more important this year because you're not in person. So you got to connect with the judges somehow. So you've got to like make sure they notice you and see you smiling and make eye contact virtually. A question from chat. When would you suggest we have the first draft of our essay to give us enough time to edit? I love having your first draft of your chairman's essay done before the Christmas break. I know that sounds crazy, but that way you have more. This year, since most teams aren't building a new robot, maybe you can stretch it out a bit, but the sooner the better. Next slide. These are some examples of visual aids that 1114 did in the past, so we can jump to the next slide. You can see the kind of things where in 2010, it was an Olympic year in Canada, so the theme was around the Olympics. I'm glad we didn't get sued, but next slide. The question period, I'm going to talk about this on another show. I think I'm going to talk about this when we talk about the Global Innovation Award. This is like really, really important stuff, and I can't do it justice in this time, but this is really good stuff about how to prepare for any job interview or anything like that. And maybe we'll talk about this next week as well when we talk about scholarships with our scholarship guests. So next slide. For the presentation, you need to rehearse. You can't just wing it. You don't want to just be reading off a script. It's going to be very tempting to read off a script this year because it's all via Zoom. You're thinking they're not even going to see that I'm looking at a script. You want to have it, in your brain. Now, at the same time, you don't want to have it completely memorized because then sometimes you sound robotic. When I gave my TED talk, my first instinct was I should memorize this. And I was like, no way. I tried memorizing it. I sounded super robotic. So I said, you know what? I'm just gonna do it like everything else I do. I'm just gonna wing it, not just wing it because I have like point form notes, but if you just have point form notes and you talk to those, it may sound different every time, but you're gonna get the passion and the energy in there because that's what's important. If you start memorizing, you're so focused on just trying to recall what's in your brain that you lose track of your emotion. Beware of monotony. You don't want to sound like you're talking because you'll bore the judges and they'll get sleepy. So you want to like keep it live and be like, and then we did this and it was really, really, really cool. And that's going to keep them awake. Make regular eye contact, look interested. Next slide. The video is not happening in 2021 because of COVID and they wanted to ease the amount of work that teams have to do. So we can skip this slide. And there's some video examples, which we're not going to talk about right now. Skip this slide. Extras, create buzz about your team via social media. I think that's important. Obviously, this year, you're not going to be able to give things to judges because you aren't going to see them. So that one doesn't really apply. But social media has become a big part of the Chairman's Award. So you should be promoting your team and talking about the efforts you're doing because the judges will, there's a good chance they're going to look your team up before the presentation. And so they might look at your social media. So you want to make sure you're representing yourself well. Next slide. Final thoughts. This process should be fun. If it starts to feel like a chore, you might want to reevaluate why it's submitting. Just like building a robot should be fun. And if you get to those points where building a robot doesn't seem like fun, your team needs to talk about this and like, why isn't it fun anymore? Remember what the award is meant to recognize. It's about culture change. The goal isn't here to win an award. If you make real strides toward culture change and document it well, the award will come in time. Also, if you don't win, that's okay. Remember, there's lots of teams that submit, but only one wins. It's like when you go to an event, only 3 teams are going to walk away as champions. And that doesn't mean if you don't walk away as champions that you failed. It just means that there's different steps to take on your journey. And you just want to keep improving. Sometimes it takes teams lots of years to win this award, and other times teams do it really quickly. Who knows? We'll see. And I think that's a wrap. So one more slide, maybe. Yeah, just some resources. If you this is all available online. First Canada Live is obviously available online. The Hall of Fame website's a great resource. You want to tune in for the Chairman's Chat on Thursday night with First HQ. But that is my slides, and I only went like a couple minutes over time, so that was good. Maria, do you have any final thoughts on all that? I know that was
I just want to say, I think that was a great presentation. I think personally for me, because this gave me a lot more information that I'm definitely going to bring back to my team in terms of like how we can best prepare for the Chairman's Award. And I'm wondering, is this presentation available on the Symbotics website, or like how can like our viewers see it?
Yeah, you should be able to find it on the Symbotics website, these slides. And if not, people can always reach out to me directly, and I'm happy to send them a copy. And I'm going to get a copy uploaded to the First Hall of Fame website. And also, I'm pretty sure there's an older copy of this on the actual First website too. So it's in a lot of places. If you whether it's the most current version or not, the most current version, no, because only I have this most current version. Well, Emily and Sarah, our staff producers, have it as well now. But yeah, we'll get it out there for everyone. So. Hey, that was a great show. Sorry we went a little long. Maria, did you have fun tonight?
Yeah, this is great. I learned so many new things tonight.
I'm so glad you did this and took this opportunity to be on the show. This is really cool. And also, you did really well in trivia.
Thank you. So, I got more questions right than I expected. So
yeah. Well, I mean, we were talking about it in the pre-show. Those are tough questions, but you could logic your way through them. And you're a problem solver. That's what we do in First. So this is all the time we have for today, running a little bit long, but we got a great show next week, co-hosted by First Canada Youth Council members. She did a few episodes in the first season. Emily Forster is back, so that's going to be really fun from Team 2056. We got a panel of First alums to talk about scholarships and tips on how to succeed with your applications. First Canada's got a lot of scholarships going, so you're going to want to tune in on that to learn about how to apply. And the First Canada Youth Council, which includes you, Maria, are going to be on to have a panel discussion about equity, diversity, and inclusion. You want to give us a little sneak peek of what you're going to be talking about next week?
So we're probably going to be focusing a little bit on equity, diversity, and inclusion in schools and how we can help, foster that community in our own schools, and also how we can help, with education of others, especially as more and more resources come out every single day. It's so important that, all students feel included and that they're being valued at educational institutions.
Absolutely. School needs to be a safe space, and that's what it's designed to be. And if it's not, we got to work hard. And we know nothing is perfect. We're just going to keep improving. So I can't wait to have the council on. I believe it's going to be you, Namira, and Mahak, and you're also passionate about this.
It's going to be great.
And I'm looking forward to, because every time I hear the youth council speak on these topics, I learn something. So I'm excited for that. So it's going to be a great show. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. Enjoy the snow, enjoy December. It's the holiday season. Everyone stay safe out there. Please be careful. Practice your social distancing, wear a mask. Let's all do this together. And thank you to our producers and our moderators in chat. And we will see you in 1 week. Good night, everyone.
Bye,
Say hi to the elk.
Bye.